Wow. I thought Germans were bad, but when you say something British tank fans don't like, you better run. Good afternoon, you wee bastards, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I have to apologise for my completely misconstrued video on the Challenger 2 last week, in which I said it could be added to War Thunder right now. That video was actually not historically accurate. Some new information has come to light from some absolute geniuses on the forums, so I just want to correct the mistakes I made in that video so that everyone has a realistic picture of the Challenger 2 painted in their heads and no one is liable to spread any misinformation. So as it turns out, the Challenger 2 couldn't really be added into the game right now. Actually, it's likely that the tank could never be added into the game at all, because the Challenger 2 is without a shred of doubt the most capable armoured fighting vehicle ever designed. This is a fact. It's actually literally impenetrable, with roughly 2,000mm of kinetic energy effective armour and double that in chemical protection, and that's on the back. According to the historical sources of Winston Churchill's Cigar box, the Challenger 2 took a Russian ICBM directly to the turret face in the 1990s and was not only unharmed, but the Soviet Union immediately disbanded out of fear. The armour is an advanced composite made up of hardened scones and Werther's originals, known as Brexidium, and easily outperforms all foreign composite protection out there by a significant margin. You'd think that such strong armour would only harm the tank's power to weight ratio, thus making it slower, but what you may not actually know is that this type of armour is equipped with anti-gravity properties that actually aid the tank's mobility rather than hinder it. Britain's put some very futuristic technology into this thing, of course. The shells fired by this legendary tank are actually so powerful that sources claim they can punch through the crust of the Earth, circumnavigate the outer core, and hit Russian T-14s in Russia from the British coast, instantly destroying an entire battalion with a single armour-colonising, discarding Biscuit shell. Oh, and by the way, have you heard of continental shift? Well, that's actually what happens when the Challenger 2 fires its Hesh round. The awesome mobility of the Challenger 2 is due to its incredibly technologically advanced engine, which of course is powered by the strongest English breakfast tea, and rather than metal pistons, it uses bangers and mash, which allows the tank to achieve roughly 69,000 horsepower, propelling the Challenger 2 to around 25% the speed of light. The Challenger 2 was actually able to withstand a shot from the laser weapons of the Death Star, as you can see from this historical footage. While being loaned to the planet of Alderaan, the Galactic Empire... I can't keep a straight face. While being loaned to the planet of Alderaan, the Galactic Empire fired at a warehouse where the Challenger 2 was located, and the tank proved completely unharmed. The second time this was tried, the Challenger 2 simply used its extremely accurate 120mm rifled cannon to hit the weapon's weak spots and destroy it. Thusly, it became known as
the Sith Legend.
Only once has the Challenger 2 ever been successfully penetrated, and this was an instance of friendly fire. This is documented in the highly classified archives of Margaret Thatcher's Nose, which state that the Challenger 2 misfired and hit its squad leader, which resulted in a catastrophic explosion, which we have come to know today as the Big Bang. Of course, all the crew survived. What do you think this thing is? Russian? Upon being questioned about this incident, the crew recalled that it was as if God, so unwilling to accept the fact that a Challenger tank had been penetrated, hit the reset button on the entire universe. Time itself was so thoroughly rent apart by this issue that most people now believe that the Big Bang happened billions of years ago, but of course the MOD knows the truth. They know everything. When asked about the threat of facing Challenger 2s, Vladimir Putin said this: "We are very proud of new T-14 Armata tank, and upgrades to existing main battle tank T-90M. These tanks are very capable of combating the strongest NATO have to offer, but the Challenger 2, this is the one thing we fear. It is a truly amazing tank. I suggest we ally with Britain immediately." Proof of all of these statements can be attained through this interview with a Challenger 2 commander. Yes, everything they say on Reddit is true. This is the greatest tank ever designed. We British invented the tank, and now we've made the best one ever, and perhaps in several centuries the rest of the world might catch up. But I doubt it. Only once has the Challenger 2 ever actually needed to be deployed anywhere, and this was to the Amazon wasteland. Thanks to the incredible life-giving properties of this legendary tank, we now know this area as the Amazon Rainforest. Now, I'm sure at this point, people in the audience will be saying that, "Oh, but the lower plate, it's so weak. Doesn't this make the Challenger 2 not the best tank?" Of course, all those people have instantly been shot dead by Challenger 2s for their heresy, but allow me to address that point anyway. The The Challenger 2's lower frontal plate is actually weakly armoured on purpose, which encourages enemies to fire at it. Now, this is highly classified data, but I believe with the express permission of those on Reddit and the War Thunder forums, I'll be able to share this with you. So, behind the lower front plate of the Challenger 2, secret British technology has led to the creation of a wormhole. All shells penetrating the lower frontal plate will immediately be sucked into this vortex, and the other end of the wormhole, commonly known as Squire's upload schedule, comes out just behind whichever tank or missile silo dared fire at the Challenger 2. To Soviets or Middle Eastern terrorist organisations, this wormhole is more commonly known as
the devil's anus.
So now you know the truth about this tank, the Challenger 2. Actually, you know what, it's almost heretical to call it a tank at all. More like a god. Yes, the god that is the Challenger 2. Thank you to all the forum users who pointed out this historical information. I would have been so lost without you. You really are a credit to society. It looks like the Challenger 2 couldn't possibly make it into War Thunder unless it was placed at a battle rating of roughly 420, where its godlike powers couldn't imbalance the M1A2s, Leopard 2A5s, and T90Ms. Then again, Gaijin could always just put it at 6.7. Hi there lads, I hope you have enjoyed this video. As you might have been able to tell, this one wasn't quite meant to be taken seriously. I just couldn't resist addressing the backlash from my last Challenger 2 video with a little jokey one like this. Reddit and War Thunder forums alike absolutely exploded at my statements that the Challenger 2 might not be the most effective tank in the world when it has less effective armour than the C-Tech Leopard 2A4 from 1987 or M1A2 Abrams from 1992, along with being much slower and having less penetration than both of those tanks despite having a substantially longer gun. I know I might have made the CR2 sound fairly bad, despite the real life successes and the pedigree of this tank, which to my knowledge has never been taken out by enemy fire. We all know the quote that Challengers are for combat, not competitions, and this rings true. The Challenger 2 is a perfectly adequate MBT for Britain and what they need it for, and does have a respectable pedigree. However, if the Challenger 2 were to be faced up against C-Tech Leopard 2A4s or Charles Leclerc's, as will probably happen in War Thunder, it would really struggle to maintain its combat effectiveness, especially in the type of gameplay War Thunder forces us into. You guys can see that already with the Challenger 1. Guess what? The Challenger 2 is not that big of an upgrade. Now, I hope neither the last video on the Challenger 2, which you should totally go see if you haven't already, nor this one offer any offence to anybody. That was not my intention. I have a huge amount of respect for the people who served with these vehicles, along with any military personnel of course, of which I know I have a substantial amount in my comment section. I do enjoy reading your guys' comments and having you around. But as for the ridiculous forum idiots who don't even know how long rods work, and yet are trying to tell me that I didn't do my research and the Challenger 2 has supposedly 800mm or, according to one brainless asshole, 1000mm kinetic energy effective armor and 2000mm chemical, you don't know what you're talking about. Please stop making yourselves look like idiots by complaining that Gaijin doesn't listen to us. My advice is, do what I did and accept and be willing to learn when someone with the knowledge comes to correct you, regardless of if that person happens to be German by birth. That was actually one argument I received, that it was Bundeswehrbuism. You believe that? Like, what? I don't know about you guys, but I was under the impression that Scotland and Germany were slightly different places. I don't usually respond to criticism of my videos like this, but I just thought I'd take the opportunity to kind of make something fun out of the nonsense I kicked up with last week's video on the Challenger 2, or even the one before that on the Challenger 1 that I made several months ago, both of which were substantially well researched. You might have noticed the gap between uploads. The forum drama was so ridiculous that I literally just had to step back and take a couple of days break from regular content to sit back and assess the beast I'd created. Fuck, I'm like a secondary villain from Jurassic Park. Or Jurassic World, for you fucking millennial scrubs who weren't hard enough yet to watch the originals. I find myself once again apologising for the delay between videos, but YouTube viewership in January is peanuts anyway, so I feel like if there was ever a time to fault on the upload schedule, now is probably the least annoying. So, I hope you lads enjoyed, and that you leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, come follow me at all the social media links in the video description below. Remember that you can support the channel on Patreon and access unique rewards, and come join my Discord server, the Koala Tree, if you want to chat with me further. Until the next time though lads, please keep your bagpipes to hand, your kilt firmly on, and I shall see you next video. I say a wee thank you to these lads for supporting me on Patreon. DA261, Latvian Wolf, Gisli Gadarsson and Dark Recon. You lads are bra. If you wish to join them, come check out the link in the description below.